go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Tuesday, March 12th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart and the altcoin market. We take a peek over there at the United States stock market as it gets set to open up here in the next 4 minutes, along with taking a look over there at precious metals like gold and DXY, or the US dollar currency index. Lastly, wrapping it up there, we're taking a look at financial news and crypto news as we kick off our day. Anything interesting going on out there, and then we conclude it with me hopping into the chat and fielding questions and hanging out with you guys. So welcome to Tuesday, March 12th, where we just got a CPI print. So this is a CPI print before the Fed meeting. The Fed meeting will be next Wednesday, I do believe. Let's see, what is today? Tuesday the 12th? Maybe it's not till Thursday? Maybe it's not till Thursday. Let's take a look. Yeah, the 20th. That's a Thursday, isn't it? That's a Wednesday. Okay. We will have a Fed meeting next Wednesday on March 20th. Today we got a CPI print. It was a slight miss. Expectations. We did hit the month over month, however, year over year slightly higher. Expectation was that we'd have a 3.1% year over year. We are at 3.2%. Now the Fed is backed into a corner where year over year, core did tick up slightly as well. We're now backed into a corner here where inflation does not appear to be ticking down any further any longer, and it probably won't for the next 5 months or so. Fed has been saying, hey, we want to see continuous similar prints. Well, we're going to find out if this meets their expectations come next Wednesday. So markets have been quite volatile this morning. Coming off of that print, we've seen up, down happening over there in the United States stock market as we get ready for the day to kick off and the markets to open. We're looking at the Dow being up 58 points, the S&P being up 18 points, and the NASDAQ being up 89 points. So about 0.5% for the NASDAQ, 1/3% for the S&P, and 0.14% for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We'll see how things get going when the market truly does kick off there in the next 2 minutes. As for crypto, a little bit of the same thing. Kind of fun thing that I've been doing lately is just kind of taking a lot of these coins and overlaying them on top of the chart to see how they're reacting with Bitcoin. Leading up to the CPI print, you could see that the market was really kind of selling off leading up to about an hour ago. Then once the CPI was released, you can see Bitcoin was really the best performer. And here as the market is drifting down to the downside leading up to the CPI print. CPI print comes in right in here. We shift all the way over here and we can see how the market has now reacted ever since the CPI print got released. You can see the altcoin market's taking a lot of it back with Near, TIA, AVAX, Crow, HBAR, Kusama being the ones to really kind of take off here after that CPI print did come out. Bitcoin sitting more near there near the bottom, and as the market's trying to recover after that. So looking over there at the total market cap of the altcoin market, total 2, it's through the 618 retracement level. 702 still sits a little bit higher than here. Ethereum, of course, battling with that 786 retracement level that it's been at for the last couple of days. It does sit slightly north of it at this exact moment, I do believe. Let's take a quick peek. Just barely sits on top of it currently right now. Looking over there at the one that drew a lot of attention yesterday was XRP, and I did actually already release a XRP video this morning, so we'll probably see a little bit of reduced viewership here in Markets in the Morning as I'm competing with myself now. I have a video that was released out just a little while ago, and typically when I do that, we do see a little bit lower viewer count here over here in Markets in the Morning, but it's whatever, man. Pick and choose your poison. You got different options out there, whatever one suits what you're looking for right now. As for XRP, it was really kind of an updated Elliott wave count of what we put out there in June of last year. So we had actually done the Elliott wave count on the entire market starting right around here. And this is back where before the SEC lawsuit had come to a conclusion and before XRP was deemed not a security, before it was put back on the exchanges. And we were talking about the large contracting triangle happening here for XRP on the bigger time frame, and that we still had not completed or D-wave yet in here. Then, of course, we end up having the completion of the lawsuit, and then going in here, and then now wrapping up wave E. So in here we have another contracting triangle. So we'll talk about we could talk about this here for just a minute as well. As for Bitcoin, though, the big thing, of course, we're watching is it's in the all-time highs. We have not seen Bitcoin expand into a bull run before without having expansion happening throughout the United States stock market. So for me, of course, I'm still just sitting a little bit on edge of that. Could the whole thing be a big giant trick? And just kind of watching for that. We haven't seen signals in the altcoin market yet that anything is at foul play yet. But of course, watching all the different things that could pose to be problems in here. And as you know, in the end, 4.236 extension, when we're looking at price chart, not market cap, just price chart, does sit right there, just about $73,000. So to the upside, that's the first thing I'm really watching for to say, okay, is there going to be some type of reaction that does end up coming out of here? We'll keep our eyes on it in the coming days to see if it ends up doing it. But as for XRP, the big thing, we'll talk all about this thing here for quite a while right now. Let's move over to the stock market, though, that is open. We'll hit that up here in just a moment. So Dow Jones Industrial Average opens up 103 points, better than it was looking in pre-market. It's up 0.25%. The S&P is up 24 points, which is about 0.5%. And then the NASDAQ is up 117 points, which is about 2/3%. The Russell 2000 is down slightly this morning. Again, that's one of those things we're looking for to see expansion happen in this market, is to see the smaller caps catch up and this not be such an isolated move happening in the market where the market's just really swallowing itself all into a few assets, which is what we have really been seeing. Again, those same leaders are out there today. NVIDIA, Meta, Coinbase, and Microsoft. Losers of the day so far are Roblox, Tesla, GE, and United Health. Yields tick up slightly today as the DXY, or the US dollar currency index, gets back above 103, and precious metals take a little bit of a hit. It's been a little bit volatile over there in precious metals this morning. Gold, yeah, a little bit. It's down $20. It was actually up a little bit too. So I'm talking about volatility, up after CPI, then down. Same thing happened with silver. Silver at one point was up about 10 or 15 cents after that CPI print. Now still flips itself back around, now down almost 25 cents after the CPI print happening in there. So you can see that in here. Let's like the first first red candle we have seen on gold in about a week and a half or 2 weeks happening in here, as the DXY takes a little bit of a U-turn happening right in here. So like we talked about, I was kind of hoping that we'd kind of slow down on the DXY for a minute and not get down here so quickly, or else then it starts kind of being scary and screaming the sky could be falling at any minute. Hopefully this buys us a little bit more time, at least for my ideas that I have in there. But otherwise, as for the stock market, it's holding up okay off of this CPI print. So expectations were that we would come in at 0.4% month over month. That's what we did end up hitting. Expectations for the year over year figure were 3.1. It came in at 3.2%, so slightly tick up. As for core CPI, those were up 0.1% as well. So it did meet. Again, it did meet. No, it missed. It missed by 0.1%. Here, I'll just, why even do this? Here. There you go. Core CPI expectations were 0.3%, ended up getting 0.4%. Expectation for year over year was 3.7, came in at 3.8. As for CPI, 0.4%, expectation 0.4. It's the only thing that hit and matched. However, year over year did tick up slightly from 3.1 to 3.2. So we did not see a drop, and it's unlikely that we're going to see a drop in CPI now for the next 5 months. Maybe in 2 months from now, there's like a slight tick, but I'm going to bet we're going to see that thing bump up to 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6 next month, something like that. It's going to be very difficult to get that thing to go down any further now at this point, and that poses the big question for the Fed. Are they going to be able to cut now? And that's where the market is probably going to start sniffing things out to say, wait a minute, are we backed into a corner? And this has kind of been the thing we've been talking about, the scenario we've been talking about. Are we backed into a corner now with the Fed? Everybody expects the Fed to cut because inflation is going to keep falling. It doesn't look like for the next 5 months it's going to. So we'll see. We'll see. But okay, Bitcoin 72,124. Again, looking over at this thing, is what I was just showing here in just a minute ago to show how the market has reacted ever since the CPI. Leading up to the CPI, you could see Bitcoin was stealing the show. The market was really worried and really concerned. Altcoins were selling off much faster than Bitcoin was leading up to CPI. The second that CPI did end up coming out, polar opposite, right? There you go. Altcoin market has done much better than Bitcoin. So everything is in the green, even including Bitcoin. Here's the zero bound line, 0% happening in here. Here's the altcoins in here. Some of them have done substantially better, such as Near, AVAX, both of them up over 6%, and TIA right there on the cusp of it at 5.98% since the CPI was released a little bit over an hour ago. So we'll keep our eyes on this to see how this goes throughout markets in the morning. Otherwise, let's talk about the thing that a lot of people are interested in, and that is XRP. So I did just release a video on this this morning, updating a video that I had done back in June of last year before we had actually ended up having the release of the judgment by Judge Torres in the SEC versus Ripple case, in which XRP was declared to be not a security. All the exchanges did relist it, and the things that we had talked about throughout all of this, and the wave counts on the whole thing, on the whole contracting triangle. And that in a contracting triangle, you actually have an A, B, C, D, E. And that's how it works. And within an A, B, C, D, E, there are a series of waves. You have A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, ABC. And then the last one, this wave E, is actually where we end up doing the whole same thing all over again. And that's where we end up having another A, B, C, D, E. And so that's the last one is marked with a horizontal triangle. You can check out that video. I did show it in the video today, the one that we were talking about back in June of last year. And essentially putting us here we go, if this is an A, B, C, D, E, where were we at the time of the recording in there, right? And it meant that we were in wave D, but we just had not experienced a higher push up to happen in here just yet. Well, what do you know, a little bit less than a month later, we end up getting that big move, and then finally we end up getting an A, B, C. So of the whole thing, we have A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. D gets completed. But what are we looking for to happen in wave E? In wave E, we tend, rather than having a three-wave structure, which is an ABC, we tend to have another horizontal triangle, the same thing happen all over again. And so what have we been experiencing in here now that the ABC of wave D has been completed and we work here on wave E? What do you know? Crash, retrace, reaccumulation happening in here. And now we're back up at the top of the range, but in a contracting triangle, which is what we would expect, or a horizontal triangle, A, B, C, D. And what are we missing? E, right? Where does E land? That's the million-dollar question. If we can escape from here and get a clear break to get out of here, well, then forget any more E's. It should be go time. And just kind of the point of the video is to say, we've talked all about this. We've talked about the whole thing. We talked about even being in here looking for wave E to then come next, and it then be another horizontal triangle coming after that. We have had that. Where are you at in a horizontal triangle? You're now at wave E. And that is the last phase. That is the ending part of the monster 6-year-long contracting triangle, Elliott wave. And it's a fascinating time. It's a fascinating time. And then, of course, you look for the other elements in the market to say, hey, we could draw all these fancy lines and make all these fancy counts on an Elliott wave theory, right? A theory. Does that, do we actually have elements there currently right now for the market? Well, what has always been accompanied with every XRP bull run, it is not a flipping of a switch or news or partnerships with Ripple. It's never been the case. It's always been, is the whole altcoin market moving? Is there action happening in the whole altcoin market? Is there action in Bitcoin? Is there euphoria? Is there animal spirits alive? Is there irrational exuberance and extreme risk taking? Dog with hat is the best the best example of the extreme risk taking out there. People definitely chasing, willing to buy anything that's way up. And I'm not here to judge you on that. I'm here to point out that's the elements that we have in the market right now. That it's unlike where people were, not willing to touch $15.5 thousand for Bitcoin because they had to get $12,000. But it's instead, I don't care. I'll buy something that's way up thousands of a percent because I think it's going to keep going after that, right? So it's just extreme risk taking. Those are all the elements that you look for every single one of these things. So do we have that behavior and that dynamic throughout the market? And do we have green action happening throughout the altcoins? Absolutely. And if you've taken a look at any of those grayscale trusts, they tell you the story. They tell you the story pretty good. That alt season is in effect, and it's been in effect for a long time. Let's see, file G. Here's Filecoin, right? Where, look at this thing just completely rampaging since the bottom came in 2022 at $3.90, now at $395. What's some other crazy ones out there? They've got a lot of them. Hold on. We'll go through them. I have a list. Let me see if I can get my list up. And here we go. Right, Bitcoin Cash. Right, where's the bottom? December of 2022. Going from 30 cents to $9.46. Ethereum Classic, right, going from 289 to 1720. Basic Attention Token going from 75 cents to 1525. The large cap fund. Let me even look at this one. What is this? Live Peer from 227 to 69.89. Chainlink going from $5 to 145. Stellar Lumens, right? Up 1,000%, right? Up from $5 to $55. Horizon, look at that, from 36 cents to 841. Litecoin from $2 to $21. Mana going from $1.50 to $61. And even Zcash down in here going from $1.50 to $8.25. Again, this one is the craziest one. Filecoin going from $4 to $395, a 100x, right? So are we in the element? Do you question yourself, are we in it? Yeah, we're in the thick of the moment. These are the moments in time where things of extreme price action can occur in markets and extreme wildness. And I keep reiterating that, using the formulas of 2016 and 2020, I don't think are going to be useful, right? And so we look to these things and we say, hey, when did the altcoin market take off? In 2020, it takes off, really once we get way up in here. It breaks through and then it starts happening up in here. When we look back to 2016 and 17, it really all starts, really right in here. As it gets back to this high, it gets, big rejection, and then all this stuff and all the craziness happens and it goes through here. But the difference is in those times periods, I'm going to get it. I know it. Okay. I added it as a percent. Right. In those time periods leading up to that, the altcoin market was not going then, right? It was getting hammered as Bitcoin went back to the all-time high in 2016. And it was getting hammered as Bitcoin makes this rally back here from down here all the way to all-time high. We just did a rally essentially like that right now in Bitcoin from here to here. Notice that it gets just slammed throughout that. And that is not what happened in here, right? The altcoin market went with it. And that's a good example just by zooming out on these things. We have some that are so extreme, it's throwing the whole chart off. In here to see, that's not the case of what happened here in 2023 and 2024, is that we've seen a lot of rampaging happening throughout the whole market. So we already have all those elements there for the market to be incredibly exciting. That's the necessary thing. So we could sit here and draw all these Elliott waves, these theories, and all this good stuff. But the big $1 million question is, are the elements there? And that's what I've argued the whole time in here, that we have to have those elements present, that you have to have altcoins going, which I just showed you even on all the grayscale charts. And you have to have the extreme excitement, the extreme risk taking, and irrational exuberance, and unwavering confidence that Bitcoin's going to $1 million, and all that kind of stuff. Those are the elements that are necessary. And so we have all of our Elliott wave counts, and we have all of those elements present in the market. If there's a time for it to be ready to rock, we're there. So we've counted all the Elliott waves for 6 years. We are at the final phase. We are at A, B, C, D, E, and then at E within E. So, are we ready to do it? Are we ready to go? I think we're there, man. I think we're there. But like I expressed in the video, it does not tell us if we go tomorrow, today. It does not tell us if we go in a week or 3 weeks from right now. It just tells us where we're at. And there isn't a rule for us to say here, right? Like or here or here on time, right? It just doesn't give us that. And we've used Bitcoin examples too, and sometimes they can be real. These waves can be real muffled and real small, and sometimes they can be really big. So we're at that point of waiting for it. But if we get a full blown with our Elliott waves, right? If we get a full blown break here to exceed the height of wave B, because right now we're still in the horizontal triangle, right? We're still horizontally stuck. If we get a full blown breakthrough here, and the thing we have to be careful about with XRP is wicks like this, right? Wicks like this that can trick and be like, we're out. But to say, can we get out? And if we get out, do we sustain it? And they're not being immediate like that. Because if there's an immediate like that, then it's just a trap. But if we can get out and just hold above here, and at least close a day or two up above here, the contraction's complete. And it should be go time. It should be full-blown go time in the event of that happening. And we're there. So we're at wave E of this whole 5-wave 6-year period. And that is exciting, fingernail biting, and a lot of different things. So I'm sure frustration for a lot too. But we're there, and I thought I would update that. That's what we saw back in June. This is the video that I put out in June of last year when we were still just sitting right here. Oops. We were still sitting right there when we were talking about and still needing to complete D and then looking for a horizontal triangle to emerge. What do horizontal triangles look like? The famous crash, retrace, reaccumulation that you guys hear quite often over the years. And that's where we are currently right now, that we've done the vast majority of it. And now we're at the point of waiting for, can we get through the retracements, right? And that's where we've been stuck. We've been stuck at the 618 retracement level up in here. Now we need to blast through these things. And you get through these things, there's no more counting to do. It's all been done. The whole 6-year thing, the count is done. So good luck, everybody. All right. Bitcoin, $72,000 sitting up here to kick off the day. A lot of volatility in the market, like we talked about here in the beginning. It was leading up to that CPI print. Where can I get you? There we go. You could literally see where the CPI print comes in, right? Right here, right? So here we go. Leading up to the CPI, we did see the market selling off in here, heading up to it. The nervousness. You could see the altcoin market took the brunt of the beating in the sell-off and the uncertainty leading up to the CPI. Then once the CPI reading came out, who ended up being the winner of it all? The altcoin market. There's Bitcoin down there at the bottom. Here's the altcoins all outperforming Bitcoin once the CPI print did come out. Again, CPI was a slight miss. We'll see what the Fed has to say about that next Wednesday when they have their meeting and see what they're reiterating out there. Currently, right now, the market does not think there's a chance in the world that, well, I guess they put a 1% chance that there's going to be a cut when it comes to the meeting next Wednesday, but a 99% probability that there is not. And the Fed has typically gone with whatever is being said in here, right? So we just looked at the probabilities over here, and probabilities say not going to cut here in March, and probabilities are not going to cut there in May. Now, if the market is doing all this pricing based off of CPI, well, I mean, you could just look forward, right? Like there's not going to be drops in your, it is without deflation, without true deflation happening in the market, it's not like we're going to see anything better in CPI than what we're seeing right now. This is it. This is as good. This is Goldilocks. This is as good as it's going to get. What will these things do after each one of these things keeps showing up and we're not seeing the year over year drop? Because just math says it's going to be very difficult. We will, in order for us to actually see year over year inflation drop at this point, we need to start seeing negative readings, like practically negatives or zeros. And we're just not getting those. We're not getting negatives and zeros. So that's what it would really end up taking. But okay, there you go. 72,203 there for Bitcoin. Again, the altcoin market has been recovering better than Bitcoin has ever since the CPI release came out. The market was selling off leading up to that. Then once it released, boom, we got a little bit of a bounce back. You could see total 2 over here sitting just above the 618 retracement levels, keeping an eye on that on the 702 retracement approaching soon. Ethereum still waffling around over there at the top of that 786 retracement in there. XRP, the big move happened in there yesterday where it got back to 74 cents. Now looking for the final accumulation, the sign of strength to happen in here for us to be able to blast our way out of here. Again, check out today's video for the updated count, in which we were referencing back to a video from back in June of last year before XRP was deemed not a security. So, all right, there you go. Starting the day off, stock market, Meta, Nvidia, Microsoft, and Google are the leaders. We have way more red over here now. You got Roblox, Tesla, ARK, and Coinbase down into the red. Stock market has definitely pulled back since the opening. The Dow has flipped now into the red, now down 5 or 6 points. It was about 100 points to the upside once the market opened. Like I mentioned, it was volatile even in pre-market. Here we are, we're seeing volatility even once the market does open. NASDAQ now is only up 19 points, which is 0.11%, and the S&P is up 7 points, which is 0.14%. Metals have been very volatile as well this morning. Now silver is down 32 cents, which an hour ago it was up 10 cents, now down 32. It's a 40-cent price swing over there on silver. That's quite dramatic. $20 price swing over there on gold. That is dramatic as well. That's the first red day we have seen with gold dating back to February. So we are on March 12th. We haven't had a red day since February 27th. Nothing but green ever since then. DXY is pulling back up. DXY now at 103.1 this morning after the CPI print has come out. So I think that gives us a pretty decent update on where we are at with the market opening up. Volatile today after the CPI print reads in a little bit more than the expectations of the market. And then if you just look forward at all, boy, it paints a really difficult picture on seeing how inflation is going to come down any further for at least 5 months. So we'll see all about that. All right, moving on. We'll take a look over there at news. Consumer prices rose 0.4% in February. Come on. Consumer prices rose 0.4% in February and 3.2% from a year ago. Consumer spending rebounded in February. CNBC NRF retail monitor. S&P turned futures gains for the first day in 3 after February CPI is about as expected. Right. That's interesting how they do that because they say about as expected. However, sometimes they'll narrative paint this totally different and be like hotter than expected, surprise, and they're like, oh, it's okay, it's about as expected. But anyway, okay, so we'll see that the narrative is inflation is going down, but you can just look to the forward data. It's going to be difficult for it to go any lower than where it's at. Southwest Airlines cuts capacity and rethinks 2024 financial forecast, citing Boeing problems. Inside the organized crime rings plaguing retailers, including Ulta, TJ Maxx, and Walgreens. Here are Tuesday's biggest analyst calls. Airbnb bans use of all indoor security cameras to prioritize the privacy of guests. I always thought that was normal. I guess that's not worldwide. I think they said they expanded it worldwide. Yeah, I think it's a crime if you do it in the United States. If you put in the indoor camera, it's a criminal offense for an Airbnb. Transcript of Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur shows memory lapses, but also detailed exchanges. They all do. They just can't remember anything. All right. Stubborn U.S. inflation poses headache for Fed in the White House. Yeah. I think it's checkmate. I think it was a checkmate that happened right there. And we'll see what he says on Wednesday. Stock futures whipsaw after U.S. inflation report. U.S. core inflation tops forecast for a second straight month. Trading U.S. inflation is muddying bond market's auction game plan. After SVB's failure, its attempted rescuer charged $285 million in fees. All right, heading over there to crypto news happening out there. Binance executives detained in Nigerian capital despite country exit. Bitcoin has 6 months until ETF liquidity crisis. Okay. Suzu pumps Milady to $19,000. Alchemy Pay, Crypto Bank, HK Tokens, Asia Express. Great Web3 games should be fully, not partially, on-chain. Bitcoin at all-time high, but new millionaire wallets are lagging. Yeah, I kind of read up on that a little bit. Like, there's a lot more profit taking happening than number of millionaires being printed through this run on Bitcoin. And we kind of showed that a lot leading up to this, that there's wallets sizes that have really been selling significantly earlier than when they typically do. They typically wait till the all-time high, but lots of profit taking happening way, way, way earlier for them. All right, Bitcoin buying advised as U.S. enters the looting the treasury phase. Bitcoin buying advised as U.S. enters looting the treasury phase. Large corporations, major wirehouses gearing up to buy Bitcoin. Nobody ever finds it weird when they announce they're going to be making major buys ahead of time. Bitcoin halving. What's different this time around? Bitcoin bull Kathy Wood, ARK Invest Bitcoin price target is well above $1 million. Dude, I pray to God she is right. If she is right, do you know what's going to happen to this market? Like the altcoins. Forget talking like 10x. You're talking 100x everything. Bitcoin at 71K, same as 20K last cycle. Bitcoin price now. Okay, they're comparing where we are right now as being the same as, rearing back up to the all-time high, like this right here. They're saying the 71K is the same as this one right in here. I hope so. Okay. This Bitcoin bull run is breeding millionaire whales at a slower pace, data shows. Wait, did they do that same article here? Okay, I don't know what happened there. Maybe I was just talking about this Bitcoin bull run is breeding millionaire whales at a slower pace, the data shows. Currently, less than 2,000 millionaires or wallets with $1 million worth of Bitcoin are created daily. That's significantly lower than the 2020 to 2021 bull run. Okay, there you go. That's what's up in your news for today. Let's see how the market is behaving here right now. Who just popped up? IOTA just popped up. So ever since the CPI print, you can kind of get a snapshot of how the market has performed this morning, really over the course of the last hour as it tried to get through that moment in time. Once we got through the moment in time, you can see the market has improved. Everything is in the green except for Tron, which is down 0.23% since we got that CPI print. Otherwise, pretty decent to start the morning off, as Bitcoin's way up there. And XRP battling around that 70-cent level. So that's the kickoff your Tuesday. That's what's going on. CPI was the big thing today. Now the $1 million question is, how's the Fed going to react to that? And hopefully people ask them serious questions, because it is very, very, very unlikely that we will see a lower year-over-year CPI print for at least 5 months. This is the bottom. So, all right. Stock market, boom, volatile, back. Dow Jones now up 104 points. We just watched it go up 100, back down to only being negative. or 10 points, now back to 100. Now the Nasdaq back up 86 points and the S&P up 23. We got more green on the board now. Here you go. Coinbase slips into the green now. Meta, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, all those names familiar, are the ones in the green. Losers in the morning, Roblox, Tesla, ARK, GE, and Apple down in here. Yields up slightly over here. There you go. Metals wobbly all over the place as well. Silver still down about 30 cents. Gold down about 20 bucks. As the DXY, let's take a peek over here. DXY is at 103.06. So, all right, that's it. That's what markets in the morning looks like today. And that's how we're kicking off this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday. By the way, I got a killer night of sleep last night. I'm feeling good today. Yesterday during markets in the morning, I'd already been up for 6 hours or something like that. By the time the stream was done, it was like, and like if we didn't have the time change thing happen, it's like, okay, getting up at 3 isn't that big of a deal for me because I get up actually at 3:45 every day. But the time change happened, so it was like it's like starting your day at 2 a.m. Like people who are crazy who wake up at 3, which I'll take that. That's fine. But like there's something mentally wrong with you if you start your day at 2 a.m. That's like not a normal time. So okay. We're hopping into the chat. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Looks like the market is in, let's take a look right here. Once we had the CPI come out and the market wasn't so panicked, we've seen things really start to come back a little bit, come back to life. So hopefully that continues throughout the rest of today. And we've seen definitely an insane stock market over there. Really, I mean, not insane, right? But boy, just not able to choose its direction. But looks like we are deciding at this point, at least up. However, the Russell still is in that red. Really wanting to see some expansion show up in this market to provide some oomph to a Bitcoin bull run because we just don't have it yet. But okay. PH Team Halb. Right out the gates, man. I saw that come in right when I was getting ready to push that live button. Gifted 5 BCB memberships. Thank you very, very, very much. And then right after that, he said, let us go as a member for 32 months. Yeah. Dang. Whenever I see those numbers, it is always astonishing to me. Let's see, there's got to be somebody out there. What's the most you could be at? There might be somebody out there with a... maybe a 40? I don't know. So you're way up there. Way up there. Thank you very much, PH Team. Hugh D says, is the Ethereum 2017 fractal still in play for Bitcoin where it can crash to 3K over many years? Or is that invalidated now that we've touched an all-time high? Happy Tuesday. Yeah, I definitely, definitely losing faith on that idea. The big thing is, will it expand, right? Will it expand? Is it just going to top out here at 73K? And will the stock market be able to exceed here? You tell me if the Dow goes crashing down and takes out the 2022 lows, if the Dow takes out the 2020 lows, what is going to happen with Bitcoin in that moment? Ultrasound money, ETFs, all that stuff. It's a hard argument to make, right? And, to see it fully expand, and like if it goes into a full-blown expansion and you do see the $100,000 Bitcoin, yeah, very, very difficult argument to make in there, right? But right now, 73 is really kind of the big area that I'm watching right now. If it gets through 73, man, it's just just a very difficult argument to say that could happen. Okay. CMIM 21 says, hey, BCB, great video on Elliott wave triangle. Could wave E of E have already happened on the 4th? Yeah, so I was going to end up recording a video yesterday on it, but as you know, I was very tired, and then XRP price broke out. And I was like, all right, fine, let's see what happens at the top of the wave. This is his question. Could this be it happening right in here? Could this be? It definitely could. But the problem is we are technically still below B, right? So to contract, you could still just say we're still in it, right? So I would not feel comfortable saying, yeah, that was it, unless we got out of here. We got out of here, then it's like, that's it. All of them are done. But you could still technically be in it by still being stuck under wave B. So his question was, is that wave E? When I was watching it, definitely was watching it with a close eye to say, could it be it? And that it would have been wave E within wave E, and that, was looking to say, hey, are we now doing another? Like, what do you have in wave E? Wave E is going to be another one, right? So it would essentially be wave E within wave E within wave E, right? So if we're in wave E of wave E, then be looking for like maybe, right? Maybe, right? And then what was the retracement levels on this thing? It got right back to retracements, right? So A, B, C, D, E gone, maybe. But the problem is we just haven't gotten above wave B of the whole thing. So since we haven't gotten above wave B of the whole thing, it's hard to argue that it with certainty is, right? Ricardo Glover, but thank you, Sam I Am, and thank you, Hugh D. Ricardo Glover says, hey, BCB, when you get some time, check out the company Carter. They have 2.5 under asset management. Okay. For me, like, I get it. There's a bajillion altcoins out there that everybody wants to look at. Everybody's got a hype thing on, or they've got a story or a narrative to go with it. And your narrative could be completely validated. There's just so much data to look out there and to follow every story. It's just impossible for me to follow it all. It's just, there's a million, right? And the interests change, like what's hot now or what's interesting now changes from one thing to another. And the only things that I can reasonably do within my power to keep my sanity is just follow some data and say, hey, what was some data that has worked before? And all right, I'm going to use that data and apply that. And so, like, if those things were showing up on like the coins you mentioned, like if it's showing up on user activity levels, if it was showing up on developer activity, or if it had a very shallow drawdown, or if it showed up in an inflation, a low inflation report, it would be on my radar. But it hasn't been. So it's not on my radar based on a very long list of metrics that I look at. So a lot of people have a lot of coins that they love at, a lot of narratives that they look at, and those things, hype can do magic, right? Like narratives and speculation and hype on specific topics can do anything. And we've seen that really with AI, right? And it seems like gaming is starting to gain some of that traction as well. And those things can, blow asset bubbles, speculative bubbles, right? But it doesn't mean that the market was ready for it at the time. So chasing with each different narrative or thing that's going on in the market, it's very difficult for me to do. But following like set criteria of like, hey, is this thing being worked on? Are there people working on it? Is there activity happening on it? Are users using it? Like, okay, that looks good, right? But is this the next new AI coin with a dog with hat? Is everybody going to now drop dog with hat and go for dog with cat? Maybe. I don't know. And I'm not saying yours is on that level. But yeah, I'll take a peek at it off camera. The Stoned Apes member for 9 months. Thank you, Ricardo. The Stoned Apes member for 9 months. UBCB, have you thought of a scenario whereby Bitcoin does crash, then retrace for a bigger alt season to kick in because Bitcoin reached new highs? Yeah. I mean, that's really what we're talking about. So like when we're talking about, we'll go with total 3. Why not? Right. That, this always makes me uncomfortable. When you see 5 waves happening up here and they're in a straight line, they just tend to have corrections. And what happens is enough time elapses for market participants to forget what they feel like, and big green lines also attract in lots of new market participants, and those new market participants don't know any other thing except big straight up green lines. But like if we did end up seeing something like that, like you're talking about, like, hey, it ends up hitting the 4.236 extension, and then it happens like this, but this thing keeps going into that moment. Yes, this is question. Hey, what about a big crash, and then we go back into a retrace, and then that's it? Yes, that's that would essentially be the band has played their last song. The kind of analogy we've been using. Now the crowd is cheering for the encore. And then what happens in here is the crowd becomes in disagreement on whether or not the band is playing one song, two songs, or they're going to play a whole new show. Some people are going to leave early to go get in their car and beat traffic. Some people are going to wait for the last song and then bail out and run to their cars as fast as possible. Some people will hang around hoping they can get autographs, only for the band never to come out, and then they get stuck in traffic before they can end up leaving. But that would be the scenario that we're talking about with the band that we've talked about, right? The last song has been played, then the encore gets called out, and then there's lots of disagreement on how long this encore will last, or if they're just going to play a whole new show. But thank you, Stoned Apes. Philip, man, smash the like button, my peeps. Alt season. Appreciate you, BCB. Thank you very much, Philip, man. And please hit that like button. Cam, I'm sure this happens to you all the time. I don't know how to say that. Gilly? Harris, can you explain these figures you just mentioned? Coinbase does not show stellar limits as high as Grayscale says it is. Correct. This is Grayscale's Bitcoin trust. These are not the actual asset, not Bitcoin trust. This is Grayscale's trusts. So these are all things you could buy in your brokerage accounts. Grayscale's always had these out there for years on end. Not always, but like 3 years or so. These are all you kind of get a look of what's happening in brokerage accounts and what they're chasing out there. That those are clearly skyrocketing. The asset prices here just haven't caught up to them yet. And will they catch up? That's the big speculation, because you watch the discount to NAV happen for Bitcoin and GBTC for the last couple of years, then they close that gap out. Some discounts to NAV on those altcoins are unreal. That Filecoin one's out of control. Almost all of them are out of control. The only one that's really not out of control is the Ethereum one. But a lot of those are absolutely bonkers wild. But yeah, no, essentially you can buy GBTC or you can buy the trust of whatever altcoin, and then they have so much of that altcoin to back up each share. And the amount that's backing up each of those shares does not even come close to what the mark price is on all those trusts right now. So the question is, are people FOMOing into those things not knowing that they're not backed up by the same amount? And if they do so, and by doing that, does that mean that those need to be repriced back down? Or does Grayscale have to refill those trusts with the appropriate amount of those altcoins to back up the share price, right? If the Filecoin trust is up 100x, do they have to refill it, right? Or if the live peer one is too high, do they have to go to the market and grab those assets to back up those trusts? Because those trusts have gone absolutely wild. And Stilovic says, you've probably shown that historically the Fed cutting is not good for crypto and stocks. What I don't understand is why. Less interest, in my opinion, would push people towards the stock market, not away. So this is we're tightening credit conditions right now. So then what happens is credit conditions start to deteriorate. It's not common for the Fed for everything to be sunshine and rainbows throughout the market, and the Fed just go cut on a cutting spree. It's usually because something bad has happened. Something has occurred, and they need to start loosening financial conditions in order to soften the blow of what's ended up coming. So a lot of times the signal of the Fed actually cutting is a signal that things are going to get rough. And our last 3 cutting cycles have all done that. Go back to 2000, go back to 2008, go back to 2020. JJ Jacob, XEC DAG and Algo, I'll wake up with XRP. Is it the ISO 20022 narrative? No. Literally nobody's following an ISO 20022 narrative except for those who consume that content. It's all about dogs with hats. I don't own any of that, by the way. I'm just cracking a joke. And that narrative has been that's just part of the stuff. No, there is no the whole market is doing stuff, right? And so like people always want to draw a story to it and say, here's why this is happening. It's a flip. It's gonna, I guarantee when the price of XRP moves, it's gonna be some narrative. I told you so. This is what's happening. It's not, man. It's that the whole market is moving. There's a rational exuberance. There's wildness. Some stuff's underpriced, and explain to me why Stellar Lumens moves up with XRP. Right? It's a lot of the same crowd in those assets that you mentioned are also a lot of the same crowd too. So there could just be correlation between the asset prices due to that. A lot of shared investors. Thank you very much, J. Jacob. Philip Mann, a gifted 1 BCB membership. My brother, thank you. Alex Smith. So what I'm hearing is $25 XRP. I hope, do I still have it up? Oh, that'd be so awesome if I do. Because in the video I say, I have to be very careful here because I know exactly what people are going to say because I went back and watched it today. Blockchain backer said we're going to $25. I already knew it. And then I'm like, holy cow, I literally said that in this video. And then like how many comments I've had to field of people saying, hey, do you still think we're going to 25? Like, you didn't listen. You heard what you wanted to hear. Go back and rewatch it. Come and see Jesus. He says, what would you do if you were Jerome Powell? First of all, I have no clue. I don't know I don't know all the complications of everything that gets implied with the economic consequences of continuing to maintain tighter credit conditions or loosen them, to let inflation run rampant, or to let everything deteriorate and fall apart. I don't know the consequences because there's probably more consequences to a lot of things than you think. To fight inflation and to not let inflation run away and to choose deflation instead. Well, if people lose their entire portfolios, that goes to show that you have a higher death rate. So like there's like real life consequences outside of that stuff too. So I don't know, but they're backed into a corner. I do believe. Crypto Prepper, are you putting everything on exchanges with limit orders while you're down under, or are you gonna smuggle your cold wallets in your down under? Thank you, Crypto Prepper. That was a joke. That was a good one. Wealthify brand. Could the D wave of the XRP chart not be at the point of breakout? Your price prediction, $5, $10, $20? Question mark. Could the D wave on the XRP not be at the point of breakout? Well, technically, it should could it not be at the point of breakout? I think your question is this: is this the breakout? It's just from a contraction. It's not, right? Crash, retrace, reaccumulation, and then back to there, right? And so then you E and then break out. So just technically speaking, you would not be at breakout yet. But thank you very much, Wealthify brand. Life of Shane. Hey, BCB, I've been here for years. I love your channel. I bought your courses and I'm an XRP holder and I'm ready for payday. Thanks for being here day after day. Thanks for having our back during tough times. I hope you have a good one. Thank you very much, Life of Shane. It's a long journey. A long journey. Krishna Kamtham. Hi from Thailand. It's 8:30 p.m. Not 9:30 p.m. anymore. You must have had daylight savings time. Wait. But you went the opposite way. You went backwards. Wild. Maximus 852, could wave E have already happened lower? I think it maybe already got that one. Somebody had already asked that one. We kind of went over that one already. Come and see Jesus. There you go. So ask me, what would I do if I was Jerome Powell? And the reality is, I don't know how they're going to get out of it. I don't know how they're going to get out of it. I don't know. Like, I don't know how they're going to cut. I just don't know how they're going to do it. Right? I think the only way I could see them cutting, like, just things have to kind of start deteriorating. And that natural deflation kind of kicks in. Because if things stay the way they are, inflation's not going any lower. KTRO official says an XRP ETP is around the corner. What does that mean for the XRP price? Nothing. Nothing. Right. If it had something, there would be built up demand on it. Like you'd see the accounts that like share the importance of these things happening. You'd see investor excitement showing up and stuff like that. It's more of something that's just like really shared within the XRP community. Right. Gaining value says, thanks BCB for everything. You really have had our back in so many ways. Gaining value, my man. Thank you very much. Long journey, man. Still more work to do. It's not like the work is done. These are all things, I mean, we've been wanting to see, you know. I do think corrections are due on a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff corrections are due. The market has gotten incredibly used to up only. And you can just look back. You just typically don't see moves of this caliber without corrections happening in there. I think the thing that probably keeps me up at night is just everybody's 100% long. Yeah, and not no defense, no cash whatsoever. I think that's probably the thing that is the little concerning part in here. But it's definitely like super, super big milestones to get through all of this stuff and to get back to where we are. These are huge, right? It's been such a wild ride through 2022 and 2023. And you pretty much have the things that you always see, the screaming the whole time, the whole dang time, that we're going lower. And then as we get up, we're never going down. So, but man, what a ride to get here. So, all right. Check out the video. Stock market's doing all right. So you got the Dow up 120 points, the NASDAQ up 115, and the S&P up 30. Let's take a look at the winners and losers. NVIDIA, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. All those names familiar. Losers, Roblox, Tesla, GE, and ARK. With all the major indexes up, but the RTY, or the Russell 2000, down 0.5% as the breadth just won't get going. But you know, here I got the Russell over here. You take a look at it. There you go. Right. So you know, potentially at the sign of strength phase. So it'd be nice to see this thing get a go. And if this thing gets a go, could get pretty exhilarating. But we definitely have to get that. And then it still hasn't even gotten to the big retracements just yet. So okay, there you go. That's it for today. That's what you got. You got a video out there on XRP, so you can watch all of that. And otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Medjool Company says, one presidential candidate says he won't let stocks crash. So you can't stop it, though. Like, you can't stop all the leverage that gets put into the system and all the players that are swimming naked. Like what we got to see in 2022 in crypto. We got to see all the players that were swimming naked when the tide went out. Right? That it was borrowing upon borrowing, just kind of Ponzi-ish. Borrow from one to loan to another, then borrow from another to loan to another until it all builds up into this big thing that when one thing happens, that margin calls everything. And like the stock market is no different. There's so many financial products built on top of other financial products, built on top of others. And then when the dominoes fall, you can't stop it. It just goes. And you can't, president, it would sure be nice if a president was in control and just say stock can't go down. Fortunately, they can. And when liquidations happen, just like we saw during COVID, you can't stop it, right? It's got to go take it all out. It's got to flush all of it out and dish out the max pain. And no, I guess you could just maybe turn the market off and while it's off, inject $30 trillion of buying power into it so the liquidations can't happen. But even then, I don't know. We would see some inflation, though. That's for sure. All right. Andy Philpott gifted 5 BCB memberships. Thank you very much. KTRO official says, hey, what's going on, everybody? It's a blockchain backer. Bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. I've been here since late 2020. You are awesome. Late 2020, man. Yeah, 2024. Hey, today is like the day COVID happened, right? Look at that. Welcome to the 4-year anniversary of torture. For those who were not here and think torture can't happen in this market, there's a negative 39% one-dayer. One day. Let's go back here. Does others even exist back then? It should. The altcoin market. Negative 42% in a day. Negative 54% in 2 days. Welcome to the 4-year anniversary of the day Bitcoin lost 38% in 1 day. From open to close. We'll call it 39. Here, give me the handles. I want it. Give me the 39. Oh, yeah, we'll get it. There it is. Negative 39.14 today, March 12th, 2020. Woo! That was a doozy. People always say, you go on vacation, BCB, prices go up when you do. I was camping. I was camping on that day. Man, and yeah, camping. So I always point back to that. Say, you sure you want that? Remember that one time I went camping? And in 1 day while I was camping, all right. Singlam, new member, welcome. Oh, we got to get a member stream in this week. All right, I'll work on it. I'll figure out a day that's good because I got a newsletter that's coming out later this week, and then we'll figure out a day to do a member stream before I go give the presentation over there at XRP Gold Coast. Which you guys can check that out, xrpgoldcoast2024.com. There's a link in the description of this live stream to that. Looking forward to hanging out with the XRP community. We've been through a lot. Really looking forward to it. Spencer Goulmain says, how do you grow your beard out so well, BCB? I don't have that big of a beard, like, at all. You know, with the hair trimmer stuff, like when you go get a haircut, and I know the dudes in here know this because my audience is like 95% dudes. You know, they're like, all right, what do you want on the sides? And you're like, like a half or a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or something like that on the sides, right? And they're like giving you a fade. I just use a 3 on the beard every time. I don't even usually do anything crazy, just a good old 3. Makes it easy. Then on the old stash, I usually use like a 2, just to kind of clean it up a little bit so the hairs aren't touching my lips, you know. But I don't really keep it that long until but I mean, don't get me wrong. There are times where I'll go a week, sometimes a week and a half without shaving at all, and it just gets all crazy. I look like a homeless man. Okay. That's it. We're done. We are at an hour. We're at an hour and 3 minutes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Check out the video that I put out today. If you like that content, I teach all about Elliott waves in here. I teach you how to do your own Elliott wave counts. There's a whole section dedicated to it, like almost an hour's, maybe more, 21, 33, 50, right in an hour's worth of content there, just based on Elliott waves. This stuff is fascinating to me. I always love looking at that. There's historical behavior of the crypto market, a lot of extra stuff about crypto with downloadable PDFs in here on bcbacker.com. Of course, check out the newsletter in here. Got a lot of good stuff in here. Sometimes talking about macro. A lot of times we're talking about what's going on with altcoins and comparing those performances to 2020 and 2021. And it's no surprise to me how, when we look at those assets to see who has been behaving in what way, that a lot of this stuff has done better than Bitcoin during October. And that was based on a lot of research that was done in those newsletters to show that these would all do better, that there was a different dynamic in 2021, and that those were the interesting things to really focus on when it came to development activity and looking at those things. So been a great ride so far, for sure. Look at all this stuff, and there's Bitcoin. So, all right, there we go. That's going to be it for this one. Check out the newsletters. There's a link down there in the description of this live stream to blockchainbacker.substack.com. Check out bcbacker.com. There's also a link down there in the description as well. Otherwise, guys, I hope that you all have an absolutely wonderful day. And if anything else, at least go watch the video that was published this morning. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.